Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Fringe Radio. My name is Antoinette Joe.
And I'm Joe Tabanella.
And we are coming to you live from Los Angeles today, 11 a.m. here in L.A. We've got 2 p.m. in New York City. We've got 8 p.m. in our fair city of Rome. And it is 5:45 a.m. the next day in Australia. Welcome and shout out to everybody. I'm so excited. I don't know. It's an energy that's palpable. We've had a crazy morning, but that's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
I'm just, this last week since we were here last, there's been an explosion, and I'm very cognizant of the fact if it's coming from me, but you know, I'm in touch with dozens of new people every day because of what I do. And it just sort of feels like people are kind of
I have to say, when you say it's 12 o'clock, I think about that video when you were a kid and you were pretending to be a newscaster.
A newscaster. I wasn't when I was a kid.
That's fantastic.
I think I was a little older than you think. But I love saying that because I've always wanted to be a newscaster. So that kind of satisfies that. I have to say, our last radio show, we didn't have cameras in the room.
I'm getting notes. Move over a little bit. Everyone wants to see your beautiful face.
Hi,
there
everybody.
It is. Okay, great.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's
good
great.
angle?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
What were you saying?
I don't know. Oh, just that there's just, I don't know. I feel so alive, and it just sort of feels like I'm not the only one feeling that. I've been in touch, obviously, with so many people, and as I'm talking, I'm realizing people are really getting that they are, or at least I feel like they're getting what I'm saying, because when I'm talking to them about, you know, what I do, which is heart-based service and really being in service of people. And those are the kinds of people I hire. And I don't know, as I'm talking to them, I can really see that people are really engaged in a different way. And I've been thinking a lot
with
about...
With you or in general?
In general. I don't know. I feel like there's a light shining through people's eyes. And I'm very aware that it may just be coming from me, but I don't... And not the light's coming from me, but just that, is it my perception or is it really happening? But last week we talked about feelings, and I really do believe that is a very interesting way of getting our power back, because I've been noticing how all week I've been creating these little subconscious things where I've been putting my foot in my mouth a lot, and noticing how I'm kind of doing that on purpose in a way, in order for me to kind of deal with the feelings that are inside. And then as the feelings come up, instead of running away from them, I'm just like... you know, just kind of going, okay, you have these feelings. What are these feelings? And sort of relaxing around them. And even at the very least, it's made me feel better.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just teaching a class in that, how those things that we do, that we say, why did I do that? Like, why did I wait 5 minutes before I had to be there to leave? Why did I say that? Why did I hit that person on the butt?
I was just going to say that. Why did I touch that person?
Yeah. Why did I say that at a board meeting, say some stupid joke? And what's going on there is there's a belief system combined with an energy form that's not being addressed, and
wants to be addressed.
It wants to be addressed like a little kid, and it will create unconscious behavior when you're not aware, in order to create an experience or influence an experience into having it reflect back the very thing that you're pushing down, which is, oh, I'm an idiot, or I can't do anything right, or no one likes me, or I'm always in trouble.
Or I just said that because I wanted to be considered, I wanted to be praised or whatever. That's usually what I'm doing.
Right.
But yeah.
But that impulse is creating the fear of why you want to be praised, which is, what if I'm not?
And I don't feel
important.
that.
And then people get mad and go, or look at you in a certain way. And then it's like, oh, God, I feel horrible. Well, that horrible feeling wants to be addressed. And until it's addressed, it will keep happening, like repetition compulsion, as Freud says. It will just keep happening. Right. I know Denise loves that. It will just keep happening until it's addressed and released and understood.
And the situations have to be bigger and the stakes higher.
They keep getting bigger and bigger
to get your attention.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's sort of been happening for me all week. And it's just been a great week. We've been having a lot of fun. We've been watching We've been watching Mob Wives. Now, we've been watching a lot of Mob Wives. We're getting ready for the season finale. I don't know why we find that show very fascinating.
I love Shark Tank.
I know you love Shark Tank,
Yeah.
and so do our kids. I am so tired. Joe has had 15 inventions since last we sat here, and all of the inventions he's had already exist.
A double-sided toothbrush. Tone, can you see it?
He was like, "Oh no, let's get this hanger," and I'm like, "Baby, it looks like a hanger." He's like, "No, but you can put 2 shirts on the hanger." I'm like, "You can always put 2 shirts on a hanger."
Actually, I did have a pretty good idea, and I went to go
Oh,
patent
no.
it, and I found out not only was there a patent on it, but my friend actually had the product. It was a baby seat. Remember when our kids were born?
Yeah.
We used to have
Oh,
to
God.
carry, when they were asleep, you have to take the booster or the baby seat out and then carry it. And our kids are
Yes.
huge. Even when they were born, they were 500 pounds.
They
They
were-
were gigantic.
They were the size of a 6-month-old.
Yeah, they were really tall. And we used to carry the baby seat, and I thought, why not have like wheels and a pull-out suitcase handle like you would with a suitcase on, so you can roll it to the person's home.
Brilliant
you're at.
idea, baby.
Yeah, they're already selling
Joe
it.
was convinced. That
At least
it
I know
didn't
it was a good
exist.
idea.
No, but you know what the thing about Shark Tank, I think, well, why are we so fascinated? The kids are fascinated. And I think it has to do with the fact that people are just out there doing all kinds of things. And why are there those people that just get an idea and just go? And then there are people who have an idea and then don't do anything about it. And that's always, that's why I'm very interested to talk to Robert Pino and have an interesting conversation with him. He is our guest today. Robert Pino's a life alchemist and a business alchemist. And we've known of him for quite a few years.
Yeah, we
So
actually heard one of his, it sounded like it had binaural beats or something like that, or
it was a
isochronic
meditation.
beats.
Yes.
With a meditation that I absolutely loved.
Yeah, we did it
A
together
friend
with
of
a-
ours had it, and we
Right.
listened to it, and it was fantastic. And it seems like he speaks my language or our language.
Our language.
So
Yep.
I'm really happy to have him on soon. He gave us this wonderful, basically a workshop in a box called the 24 Laws of Influence, and unlock the secrets of truly charismatic people. What are your secrets,
I
Tom?
love that.
Robert Pino.
I
So we're
love that.
looking
I'm
forward to
very
having him on in a
excited.
couple of minutes.
But it's really what are the attributes to a successful person? What is it a successful person does that a non-successful person, and success is always, obviously relative, right? Somebody's idea of success is different than another's, but what makes a person go and not stop? And for me, that has been a very big learning curve, because I was always somebody who did well enough in what I was trying, but I was always afraid to maybe to fail or to not be the best. So if I didn't try, then I couldn't say,
Right.
that I could say, well, I never really try. But if you really try and you fail, that would be very terrifying to me. But I don't know. I've changed. I've changed.
I have too. I mean, I grew up in a place where it's blue collar, self-defeating.
Bensonhurst.
You can't do anything right. You'll try. If it doesn't work out, if it's not easy, you just kind of give up. And so I after I realized these principles, that's why I teach them now. Everything changed. Like everything that I teach is based on those principles. And what I found is what makes a person successful ultimately is that they're completely absorbed in the goal. They're one with the goal, energetically, consciously, and they are willing to feel everything also. So they are willing to feel and to think, be afraid, but yet it's almost like all these fears and thoughts are birds in the sky of their intention. So they just fly by. It's just information. And I just did this with a client who's an actor. We got him to a point where he was actually doing really great. All his auditions were right on. He was going back for great parts. But he came in, he said, I'm just not booking, And so when I listened to what he was saying, what he embodied now was, I'm a good actor. I'm really good. I do my job. I do my work. I'm fantastic. But he wasn't embodying working actor. So I did this process with him where he moved into working actor and let go of the doubts. And 2 hours later, he called me and booked a really nice job. So it was really cool to see that when it's not so much what you envision, It's what you let go of and drop into who you are, who you'd like to be. It's like almost surrendering to who you'd like to be by letting go of what you no longer want to be.
And in that moment, would you say that magnetically, that vibration is what goes out and attracts the
Well,
situation?
that's what people would call the law of attraction, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
I call it the law of attraction. Tom. They've been talking about that
I was
for-
like, you're brilliant, Antoinette. What you're coming up with is so brilliant. No, but I guess that's what it is. So so I guess it's embodying that.
Well, I think that's why you're so charismatic, and everyone loves you. I mean, I always make this
Thank
joke
you.
that I could
That's
bring
so
home
nice.
10 strippers from a strip club. Not that I've ever been to a strip club, but I could bring home 10 strippers, and they'd hang out with you the whole time, going, "Oh, she's great, she's great."
That's very
It's
nice.
just, and I think what you embody is just love. You just love people, and people feel it, and you magnetically and magnetically.
Thank you, honey. I also wear
magn-
really cute shoes.
and cute shoes.
And cute
really,
shoes help.
Yeah, they love the shoes. That's what it is. That's why they're going to you. It's the shoes.
I think I just made a connection. That's why I like watching Mob Wives.
Because of the shoes?
I think because there's so much of Brooklyn still in me, even though I've been.
Really?
Joe's
You
like,
think?
You think? No, I don't know. I don't even
Isn't
know
it
why.
funny
I don't
that
know
we
why I
wind up
wanna
fighting
talk about
after we watch Mob
today.
Wives? We wind up fighting.
Yes.
I wind up going like, "What are we talking about?
And
I left it out
yes.
already."
And all of a sudden, I'm getting tough, and my voice drops a couple of octaves. Joe,
to Trina, and she was saying that, that she thinks it's very important that the girls get together. It's so soothing.
What is the story?
such a
I don't even know why she
soothing
can't
energy.
speak. Is it the collagen in the lips, or
No,
what
she's
is
just.
that?
I love her.
I love
just
her too.
listening to her.
I want her on the show.
Just, she's just so into her. She's like so kinesthetic in everything she says. This is great.
I was doing Harvey Firestein actually.
I
just now.
was going to say that
I
didn't
am
sound
your
so much
mother.
like Big Ange.
Didn't sound like big.
A little bit, but more Harvey
Sounds
Feinstein.
just like her.
So.
Hi,
how are
Joe.
you? Hi.
Hi, baby.
We don't get to talk to each
We
other.
don't.
It's nice to see you. How are you,
I'm,
Antoinette?
I'm really, really good. I know you have some big things coming up. I did want to kind of give you a shameless plug. Don't you have something coming up on March 8th that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm teaching a class at the school I teach at, which is Hypnosis Motivation Institute. It's the College of Hypnotherapy in Tarzana, and I'm doing a workshop on hypnosis and the law of attraction, that makes me cringe because I'm very
Why does it make you cringe?
I'm very
'Cause you always
science-minded,
say
and when
that.
you say law of attraction, the skeptical part of me goes, "What do you mean law of attraction? If it's a law, you should prove it." But then I go into the understanding that it's not about the outside world, it's the inside world, and you can prove a shift in the inside world because you're responsible for your inside world, and then you'll find out that the outside world reflects it or not, but by that point, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So
Wouldn't it be interesting to actually maybe
teaching that
get
on the 8th. On the 8th,
on the
Antoinette,
8th. I'm sorry, I just
1:30
cut
to
you off.
4:30. Yeah.
at HMI?
Yeah,
Hypnosis
you can, I guess,
Motivational
get information
Institute.
by contacting. It's on my website, actually.
Well, also
contacting
Joe?
us at Joe at on the
Yeah,
Fringe Show,
onthefringeshow.com or info@onthefringe.com. You can always reach us there.
or
Be patient-
Antoinette
or
at
me.
onthefringeshow.com for you perverts out there contacting her personally.
That's all right. It's all right.
Oh, it's all right, is it? Forget I'm turning to Mob Wives.
But we also wanted to tell you guys that we do have a website that's being constructed, and we do have our Facebook. Our Facebook is On the Fringe Radio, and that's also on Facebook. And then our Twitter handle is Fringe Talk Radio. So, please reach out. We're sort of mobilizing right now. It's been incredibly busy. We've got 6 businesses between us, and I wonder sometimes.
And we make it about $15,000 a year.
but
we
it's
never did
growing. It's going to get better. We're going to make more money soon.
We didn't do our logo promo.
We
I
didn't.
think
We're
done.
gonna
Ready? Music.
Okay. Wait. Minute. I'm doing this.
Sesame Street. Do something like that, so it's no copyright infringements.
Oh yeah.
Do something similar to that.
La, la, la,
On the Fringe,
la, la, la,
with Antoinette
la,
and Joe,
la,
husband
la,
and wife,
la,
talk chew the fat from everything.
la,
I don't even know the logo. I don't even know
You're good.
the husband
La,
and wife
la,
chew the
la,
fat
la,
on
la,
everything
la,
from aliens to who's on top.
la,
On the Fringe where hypnotherapy and stand-up comedy collide.
Oh, I like that.
like that. Oh.
Did you just come up with that?
No, we wrote that last week.
Oh, that's very good. That's
You
very
wrote it.
Good. Anyway, so should we talk about Robert Pino? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to bring him on, but I thought it would be really interesting to give him a little bit of an intro so people can maybe check him out while we go to break.
Yeah.
And then maybe come back. Do we have a number for people to call in and speak to him? Let's ask
I
our
think we're
producer.
going to have a lot of questions for him.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about that in the break. But
Okay. But Robert Pino is in the green room right now. I'm putting on my glasses because I can't see a thing.
if you're listening, hi, Robert.
Hi, Robert. We're very excited. The Journal of Business Strategy ranked Robert Pino as a management thought leader on business strategy and an international strategic consultant who offers today's managers and executives a realistic and remarkably effective alternative to traditional competitive strategies. Wow. I'm exhausted from that sentence. That's a lot, and I cannot wait to hear what exactly that means. For over 2 decades, strategist and executive coach Robert Pino has served as key advisor to business and political leaders. He has the ability to distill complex issues into simple and powerful strategy concepts that can be applied immediately to produce measurable, sustainable, positive results. He takes you right to the heart of the matter. How to change the rules of the business game yourself and be in control of your corporate future.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow.
I like that. That's very Shark Tank. Hold on, I just lost it. He blends 2 sides of the coin. The tail, which represents the bottom line of your company, and the head, which represents the mind of the people in your organization.
Oh, wonderful.
I know. I love when organizations factor the mind of the people, because it's the mind of the people that drives the business.
He's our new best
I know
friend.
this isn't a new business model. I'm not just coming up with something. But it is really super important to deal with your people. Both are forming the strength of your company. Robert is an entrepreneur with international management and consulting experience honed at organizations such as Sara Lee, A.T. Kearney, with life insights garnered through an intense study of Eastern philosophies and competitive practice in martial arts like Aikido and karate. In 1991, he founded his own strategy consulting firm, RP Strategy Company, with its main offices in Chicago. So that's who's on our show today. He's sitting in the green room right now, and he's going to be coming on to tell us what he's been up to, what he does, and maybe answer some questions that we have. I know Joe has some questions.
Yeah. I think it's... let's go to a break, and when we come back, we'll have Robert for you, everybody. I'm looking forward to having him on. So we'll see you in just about a minute.
Grab
or
your
2.
coffee
Grab your coffee.
or your tea.
She ain't real. She ain't gonna be able to love you like I will. She is a stranger. You and I have history, or don't you remember? Sure, she's got it all. But baby, is that really what you want? Blessed up, so you got your head in the clouds. You made a fool out of you, and boy, she's bringing you down. She made your heart melt, but you're cold as a core. Now rumor has it she ain't got your love anymore. Rumor has it. Rumor has it. She is half your age, but I'm guessing that's the reason that you stayed. I heard you've been missing me. no one you're leaving her for. Rumor has it. All of these words whispered in my ear tell a story that I cannot bear to hear. Just 'cause I said it don't mean that I meant it.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hey, and we're back.
We're back. Robert!
Yes.
We have
thank
Robert
you
Pino
so
in the
much.
studio. We're so excited to have you here.
I'm very excited to see you guys.
Yeah, we just read your bio, which kind of gave us a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
was like,
long.
what
Yeah.
is, no, that wasn't even that
No,
long.
not
It was
because it's
like-
long. It was
it
just
like,
so...
I want to know exactly what this
we
means.
get so many
because-
questions. You know,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, shoot. I'm here to talk about anything you like. So
Okay, great.
Well, where are you from, first of all?
originally, I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands in Europe, and I've been traveling back and forth to the United States for quite some.
Wait a
some
minute.
years, yeah.
That's a fake accent. You wouldn't have that accent before.
Well, I don't know if there is an accent somewhere.
There
but it
is,
might
I
be,
barely
So as soon as you
did.
mention
But it might be-
Amsterdam, it comes out.
yeah, Amsterdam, and then and also Chicago, because I used to live in Chicago before we came to LA. So
Oh, okay.
so there's probably more culture in me than yogurt. you know.
That's funny.
So,
And you say you and your wife.
yeah, me and my wife Adela May. Yeah, absolutely.
Adela May
So-
Pino. She's a really well-known makeup artist in the entertainment business.
Exactly, and super busy nowadays with the Oscars and
up, I
all the
know.
red carpet events. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
We
Do you
have
get
to
to
have
go
our-
to them or
Well, that depends. You know, she needs to work late because it's always at the last minute. So
uh-huh.
Yeah,
But
she's
we'll
working
see.
up until they walk. The
starts at
carpet.
7, and then they walk the carpet, and then she's done. Yeah,
It's crazy. We went to the Golden Globes one year, and I was like,
Yeah, that's
wow, what
really-
an experience.
Yeah,
that
it
was.
is-
It
it
was
is- it is
larger
great.
than life.
It is
for sure.
It is great, but it's it's important, especially this year. It's very important. So
Yeah.
I think because there's a lot of movies that I would like to see that will win, but we'll see.
Uh-huh.
We haven't.
You
We,
never know.
I think we saw.
I think we saw Finding Nemo.
Finding
I can't
Nemo.
believe you said that. That was what I was going to
We
say.
saw that this year.
We don't get to the movies
have
much
the
unless we
kids.
get
Oh,
the
really?
screening
We're always
copies
watching
from
kids movies.
the
for our
Guild.
kids,
We
yeah.
get those copies, and then
Well,
we
I'm
get
a
to see
real
them.
movie buff, so that's
Which one's your favorite movie this year?
this year. The Wolf of Wall Street. I really
Really?
loved it.
Wow.
I saw it twice, and I really liked it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so you're what, a greedy, money hungry guy?
No, it's
Just
more.
kidding.
It's more.
I don't know
about-
anything
you
about
know,
the
it's,
movies.
No, it's more about first of all, how the response in the United States is to this movie, because it's interesting because they show a lot about how it was in Wall Street in the '80s, which is probably not very different how it still is in Hollywood. But
Right.
that's one thing. The other thing is that it's pretty controversial, which I like, and it challenged the mind of people, and it gives you a new frame of reference of movies. And what I also like is the character development of Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. So that's
Yeah.
really cool.
He seems to be getting better every year, right?
I've seen a lot of movies with done by Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, and I really like them. Shutter
Yeah.
Island is another favorite. It's a difficult movie, but it deals with the mind of the people, because one of the things that you said, and I have no clue how I was introduced, but is that I'm on the verge of say bottom line thinking for companies, because originally I'm a strategist, and what I also do is helping people to go to the next level and to train their mind to get there. And that's fascinating because if you take a coin, for instance, a quarter, there's head and tail. So the tail is the bottom line of the company, and the head is the mind of the company. And company
That's
is
cool.
and the mind, and without one or the other, you don't have valuable currency. So you have to take both into consideration. And I in the past couple of years, I started as a strategist with. Among other corporations, the Sara Lee and A.T. Carney and consulting and all the strategy consulting.
Could you give us a breakdown or the overview of what that means? Like, what is it you do exactly? You just go in and teach. Do you align the people with the goals of the company? Do you do an alignment?
That's a big chunk of it, because I used to be in strategy, defining the strategy for the company, growth strategies for both to get into new markets or to achieve their objectives. But it all is facilitated or hindered by the mind of the people. Because a company is nothing else than a bunch of people in a mini society.
Yes.
So you can devise a strategy and say, okay, this is it. And especially as a consultant, some people say, well, yeah, the consultant has easy to talk because they do the strategy and then they give us the report and we have to go through the process in 2 hours, and they went through the process in 2 months. And then it needs to be implemented. And what I found out is that the implementation always gets stuck. Especially when the consultant is gone. My company that's originally based in Chicago is helping the people to go through the process of implementation. And if they get motivated by certain things or demotivated, or they need certain qualifications or talents or capabilities, I teach them. So
you basically hold their hands a little bit as they get into this new habit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I guide them through the door. I'm not the guru. I push the guru back into the people. So, but I facilitate their process, and that goes throughout the whole company, either in larger groups or one-to-one with CEOs. And an interesting thing in the last couple of years, more CEOs would like to know what their personal mission in life is. They say, I've been responsible for a $76 billion company around the world. I know everybody and all that. But why is this and this happening to me? Or what's the greater meaning of life? Because when I'm 96 years old and I'm laying on my deathbed and look back and it's like, okay, well, I did well. I have a nice house, 2 cars, and all that. Yeah. And but what actually was the meaning? What's the purpose behind it? And those more deeper questions I get on my plate, which is very interesting to see.
Is there a common theme that comes up when they finally get to that answer, like service or?
No, not necessarily. Well, yeah, community service or doing something. Well, I'll give you an example. There's, and this is a real example, a big CEO, very, very powerful person of one of the largest top 500 companies in the Fortune list.
Don't tell us his name.
No,
just
I won't
give
tell
us
his name.
all the letters to his name.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't say it. Spell his name, but don't say it.
But the interesting thing, you have probably a lot of products of his company in your coverage. So, but the interesting thing was that we were talking about strategy, and then he said, and I published years ago the book Corporate Aikido, which is a business leadership book. And the interesting thing was that we were sitting on a Friday afternoon, and he said, I'm this big shot, and I'm good doing this, and I know these type of people and that, and I'm traveling the world. But why is it that my son is sick with a muscle disease that I cannot help him with? And why is it? And then I said, well, say, for instance, his name is Tony, which is not. But if you would like to get it spelled Tony.
Tony, look up Tony.
Look at Tony. Look up Tony. Type it in on the internet.
Tony and products in your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cupboard.
You will definitely find those. Yeah. But so I said, well, Tony, suppose it's true that a child chooses the parents. Suppose, once, some people say that. I don't know if it's true, but suppose it's true. Why would it be that your son choose you? And he was thinking, and I got tears in my eyes because I have kids, and he got tears in his eyes. He said, well, I don't know. He said, all of a sudden he got it. He said, my infrastructure, my talents, my capabilities, the people that I know, maybe I could set up a foundation and bring in money and try to find the cause of the disease, because the disease is very rare. So he established a foundation which is called FSHD, which is the abbreviation of a very difficult Latin name, which is actually the disease. And he thought that his son would not become older than 25 years old. And his son is now almost 40. And they found not only the cause, but also the genetic origin of the disease.
No kidding.
No, it's true, and that's really true. And you can even, if you FSHD is the disease, so you can type that in, and you will find a lot of it. But the good thing is that he used his competencies, his talents, and his purpose by what he generated over life and what he experienced over life, and especially in his business life, to apply that to something that is for the greater good.
It's
And
beautiful.
that's just a beautiful example. There's one of the
Many,
many
I'm
examples.
sure.
Wow, that's great. So it goes back to, I would imagine, service then, because there's a giving back to
That's true. That's
being
true.
of,
Yeah, definitely. In that definition is absolutely true.
And now in your bio, or something else I read about you, it said something about traditional strategies versus new strategies.
Yeah.
Well, what's the juxtaposition of that? Well, could you go?
Yeah,
into
well, traditional strategies is what we all learn at the university or at the high school or so.
and that
in
would be, in a
marketing.
nutshell,
Well,
competition,
motivation.
aggression. or
Well,
what?
no. I'll give you an example. What every marketeer learns in this day and age is that you have to make the strength of your opponent obsolete, or you have to attack your opponent on his weakness. That's basically what it is. So you make what they call an analysis, and then you see your opponent or your competition is weak in these areas.
And you go.
This
for
is
that.
like what
you go for that.
It's like what Scope did to Listerine, right? Not that fresh breath without that medicine-y flavor.
Yeah, something
Right?
like that.
Yeah, and then
so,
it took off. Scope took off because they pointed out that it was medicine-y.
But I tell you one thing, because fundamentally that law, the marketing law, so to speak, so attack your competitor on his weakness, is actually not the right thing to do. If you play tennis, for instance, I don't know if you've ever played tennis, but when I play tennis, my forehand is, more developed than my backhand. So what my opponent would do, he will return the ball to my backhand, so I make a mistake. But every time when I have the opportunity to correct myself and to learn how to use my backhand, I get trained to become better, right? So if you attack your competitor on his weakness, he knows that he's weak there, so he will do everything to cover that up or
and come back
to improve
like
that.
conflict resolution.
Yeah,
if you feel attacked, you get more defensive.
Exactly. So what you do is when you make the strength of your competitor obsolete, there's no fallback option.
And how would you do that? Give me an example. How would that?
Well,
manifest?
after a thorough analysis and a lot of creative thinking, for sure, because it's easy to say that, but it's very difficult to do it. But then you can always call me because that's the strategist in me. The other thing is the creative part. There's a lot of stuff, and some I'm mentioned like business and life alchemist. Now, an alchemist is an old medieval term from Europe, in the 1600s and so that, and those were people who tried to turn lead into gold. Now, that's not possible. Yeah, everybody knows that, but by using that parallel or the metaphor, you can say melt down the lead of your company or melt down the lead of your life and revealing your gold. That's in a chemical process. And what you see with alchemists, they were either physicists or they were transpersonal psychologists. So by doing the business and life alchemy, I'm more focused on combining and blending things and getting to new opportunities and new paradigms to rewrite the rules of life or to rewrite the rules of the market. And, when I started off as strategist, what you don't read in my bio, but you can read it in a book that I published, Absolute Victory, which you can find on Amazon if you type it in. Very easy to find, much easier than Tony.
I love the cover, and I'm very interested.
I think we have it. Do we have it posted right now? Is it up on the screen?
It will be.
It will be.
Okay.
Tony.
Well, what it says, I when I was a strategist and I had my own firm and I had everything, I had 3 offices worldwide, in Hong Kong, in Amsterdam, in Chicago. And you name it, I had it. And everybody said, okay, everybody that what Robert touches turns into gold. But nobody was asking, hey, Robert, how are you doing? As a person, how are you doing? And even if you do the stuff that I've done, I'm still a guy from Holland, from Amsterdam, streetwise, and need to do it for the first time. So I go to the bathroom 7 times before I get onto the stage at CNN, honestly. So I didn't do it just by doing it, and I got very depressed because people were judging me of what I had accomplished and were not judging me of who I was or am as a person. So I went through a 2 year of a very severe depression, never took pills, although my environment said, oh, you have to do pills and pills and pills. But what doesn't come with a pill doesn't go away with a pill. And in '97, quite some years ago, but in '97 I was at a workshop, and I drove home, and I was on the left lane of the highway, and I wanted to listen to news, to radio news at 6 o'clock. So I wanted to turn on the radio, and at that moment I lost 10 minutes of my life, seriously, and I ended up on the right side of the right shoulder of the highway after 10 past 6. I know that because I saw the clock. And the only thing that I could do was crying, but I got rid of my depression. And I knew all kind of other stuff, and I became very intuitive. So that's
so something happened in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, yeah, it's like a
you
near
lost
death.
10 minutes.
Yeah, I lost 10 minutes of my life.
But
I
did
maneuvered
you?
my
Was it
car.
an accident? Almost.
No, I maneuvered my car from left to right. Had no clue because it was the
You
traffic.
just
6
wound
o'clock.
up on the side of the highway.
I really don't know those 10 minutes. All I know
You
that I was
wound up
inside
there.
and outside my car, and I spoke with professors in New York about it, and they say it's kind of like a near-death experience. And when
Right.
you come back from although I didn't die, but when you come back, you have the same symptoms.
Yeah, like a massive disassociation, right?
Completely, and you get to know stuff about other people that you don't want to know. So what happened as a bottom line thinker, as a strategist and a boardroom consultant, who's very rational, logical, and educated. I have a doctorate in business economics and strategy. You all of a sudden goes to the other side of the spectrum, which is totally metaphysical and paranormal. We mentioned it as paranormal.
That's interesting.
And that is like, whoa. So it took me years to discover and to incorporate that in my life. But what you get is a lot of information and a lot of empathic information or intuitive
I was just going to
information.
When
ask
some
you that.
people call that a wonderful synchronization of left brain, right brain, or heart,
Yeah.
mind, and like
Yeah.
an Einstein who was
Yeah.
very intellectual but also extremely creative. And
Yeah.
we call
And
that in
sensitive.
hypnotherapy. We call it somnambulist in a
That's
sense,
true.
where they're highly,
That's true.
like Howard
that-
Hughes kind of thinking.
that's absolutely true. And what it does, it either taps into your unconscious mind, which is deeper than your conscious mind. Conscious mind is that people who are listening to the radio, they know that they're listening to the radio, or they see us on television or on the web. And we do this interview that's consciously. But the unconscious mind is something that you do, learn behavior that you do without even knowing it, like driving a car or even speaking a language.
Yeah.
So speaking a language, we don't think about the grammar anymore. But when you go to Italy, you have to talk to Italian. Then all of a sudden you become conscious of the language. You make mistakes. So I think it either taps into the unconscious and get a vast majority of information, and information not necessarily that you all need. Plus, you get a lot of information of the environment, because people radiate energy, and energy is information.
Right.
So what I discovered is that my own frequency, so to speak, or aura, or energy field, or electromagnetic field, or whatever you call it, can be at the same level of the other person, which means that I get the information of the other person. I see what they see, I hear what they hear, I feel what they feel, and can backtrack that to the cause of something, why things happened in their lives or even in their company. So now that's the mind side, which I needed to incorporate in the tail side of the coin in order to stay my own quarter, to stay my own coin, which was very difficult. But over the years, I combined it in my work, and now you see that, call it spirituality and business, or call it beyond the bottom line, that people are more and more interested to know more about that, or even high-level people, and that could be artists or actors or politicians or businessmen. They would like to know how do you do that? Is remote viewing really true? Or
Well, how do you feel about remote viewing? Have you been
I've-
able to do it?
Yeah, I've done it.
You're a science-minded guy. Was beyond chance what you did, or was
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely. And I'll tell you, we did a pilot in 2004 in Orlando, and and brought in like 5 people, 5 executives, and we said, well, let's do Orlando, because that's where Mickey Mouse meets Einstein. Because first of all, nothing is paranormal; it's all nature, and it can all be brought down to quantum physics and physics.
I think we have to explain what remote viewing is for our
remote.
our, our
well,
guests and
remote
listeners.
viewing is it's not that simple, but simply explained. It's basically you go into you go into a relaxed state, and you have your intent to another location, even a location where you have not been, or a location where you have been. And then I guide them and I teach them how to do it. But then you see that location at a distance in your mind, and you write down what you see, and that will be checked. Now, that's something that we did in Orlando, and there were people that one CEO said, "Well, let's go to my house." So he went to his house in Paris, And he said, well, that's strange because the curtains are closed and it's 6 o'clock at night and nobody is home, which is weird. And all of a sudden he said, well, go upstairs. So he went upstairs. He said, well, even my son is not there. I said, well, why don't you write it down and call your wife? It's real time, you know, although it was in the morning in Orlando because there's 6-hour time difference. And he said, okay, let's call her. So he called her and she picked up the phone when she got into the house. And he said, what's going on in the house? He said, well, what are you talking? I just went to my father in Lyon and I was gone for 2 days. And he said, are the curtains closed? He said, yes, those curtains. And he saw 2 newspapers on the mat.
No
in the
kidding.
entrance, and he said, do you look down? What do you see? She said, well, there are 2 newspapers. What are you talking about? He said, well, I saw that.
That's
And
interesting.
why?
So I have a question about that. I'm a hypnotherapist,
I
and
know,
there's some
I
people
saw
that
your-
are
yeah.
a little bit more suggestible to that kind of stuff.
Of course.
And usually, major corporation guys, you need a little work to get past that critical filter. Now, how long does it take to get somebody who's never done that before? When you work with them, is it once? Do you do it in one meditation, or do you kind of work up to it?
I work up to it because you need to be trained in it.
Yeah, it's
and
like past life
especially
regression. It's very
past life
you
regression.
gotta get
is
out of
an
the
Past
way.
life regression?
I did, and I to be honest, I did about 100. Don't get shocked, but I did 155 past life regressions onto myself.
On yourself?
And yeah, and just to give you an idea, there's a program. If you type in Robert Pino on YouTube and you type in Life Alchemist or Past Lives and Present Behavior, there are 3 parts of a program that I did in Europe. And I treated people with fears and phobias. And what I did was I got the person in the studio, and it was filmed. It was 6 cameras, and it was live, and so you couldn't trick anything. But I write down what I feel where she got in this case, claustrophobia from. So I draw it, and then I put them into a relaxation state or heightened perception or heightened concentration. And I brought her back and just asked questions, not leading questions, but just questions. Where are you? Is it dark light? Or, And she came with information from Gainsborough in England, and that's a place that you don't even want to be found dead, to be honest, or bury your shoes, with all due respect for Gainsborough. But I was there. There was nothing to do. But she had never been there, and she came to the conclusion that she died in 1809 or 1810 as a 17-year-old boy in a sewer pipe system. And I drew that before we even went into that particular meditation or in the past life regression. And she gave information that you cannot possibly find in public sources and records, but even there was information in old church archives in Gainsborough.
Stuff.
And we went there, and everything, even the drawings that she made during our session came out. And we did
That's
with the whole
amazing.
team. We did research, and she had never been in the UK at all. So, and let alone in Gainsborough.
I'm fascinated by
There's
past
some
life
really
regression.
great
I would
books
like to
with
do it.
many many lives, many masters. and
Absolutely.
A lot of great books on. I don't really. I've done it a couple of times. I'm not big on it for no other reason. It's just you find your way. But there are some colleagues I have that's all they do is past life regression. It's really fascinating.
The thing is, once you get information, you cannot get rid of information. So information, you cannot cut it out of your brain anymore.
Yeah.
So people are scared of it, and I'm not professed to be that there are past lives, but this information is just very interesting. It is in the consciousness or the subconsciousness of the person, and it rules their lives. Yeah.
That's
And
the important thing.
that's
Whether it's
that's
true
the
or
important
not,
thing.
it's in there.
Yeah, I
and-
don't care if it works.
Yeah.
If it's
As long as it works.
it works.
Right.
And the people are not imagining it because you cannot imagine facts that are not public.
Right. And also, we say at the school I teach at, even if your mind created a story using the collective
Consciousness,
unconsciousness,
big mind,
right, to resolve a problem and made it up, then
It's
that's
fine.
what it needed to do to resolve that problem.
And a
That's
lot
it.
of people get their problems that way.
Oh.
That's another thing.
Mm.
Wait. How?
How? Well,
It hasn't been resolved. Right?
yeah, you can resolve a problem, but you can also have a problem. Also, people are not afraid of doing certain things until something happens, or somebody says, "Oh, you have been married for 5 years. Oh my God, that's a crucial time." Now that alone can change the perception of the person, and the person who hears that starts to think differently and look differently at her partner, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, he behaves differently,
Right.
and you get a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And that's the scare part of it, and we learn very fast. We learn like instantly.
That's why I'm very cautious with clients when they go to psychics.
Yeah.
Because if someone gives you a suggestion and you're suggestible, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and a
now
lot of
you-
psychics
yeah.
are just terrible, and they're not even psychics, but they use that mystique around it. I debunk a lot of psychics and rewrote some books that were not right, based on my breakthrough experience that I had in '97. But
The one with the car?
yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second? So,
Yeah, sure.
so just so that I understand. So, in that 10 minutes, you're not sure exactly what happened, but
No.
you came back from that lost 10 minutes with your perception heightened and
Yeah, totally heightened. All the senses were just heightened, and the other thing is that I was not depressed anymore. I felt just.
What do you think happened?
I wish I knew. I know because we did reenactment and sessions to find out, and that's all recorded, and it is pretty fascinating what happened. What I do know is that I got more complete. Let me say that. But my life changed in every area of like 180 degrees. But I found the love of my life through a whole set of synchronicities 7-8 years ago, and that needed to happen because that's what I saw in the car, which was
The
which
hair
was
on the
just
back of my head
yeah,
is standing up.
which
That's
is just phenomenal.
cool.
Yeah, and that is really that's one of the things. But the other things is, for instance, that I can talk about this topic with you guys. I mean, as you see, I don't have gemstones or incense around me or whatever, but I'm just a very no-nonsense guy, and I found out why it happened and apparently, being a consultant and going through a process like that gives you the validity to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because if you've never eaten salmon, you cannot talk about how salmon tastes.
Well, it's interesting because when you were talking before, you mentioned that you had that experience. What I was thinking to ask you was, it sounds like to me that you're accessing, other than being a strategist and being super smart and super perceptive, you also seem to be accessing information
Totally.
in order to...
Absolutely.
The Akashic Records, would you call the Akashic Records?
Well, the Akashic Records, that's a label. Let me explain this. Also for the listeners, the air in the room that you're in, if you demolish the building, where does the air go? It melts, it morphs with the air outside the building. And when you put a new building in place, the air is again in the building in a different configuration. So I think that everything that you learn, everything that you experience, everything that you go through in life is a part of your consciousness, which is apparently also a part of your DNA eventually. And when we die, we give it back to something, or we morph it with something else. And then either you come back or not, but somebody else needs to clean your dirty laundry, because that's what they call karma, and you have to learn and develop yourself. And that's a big chunk of what I went through, I guess. And that's what I teach to executives, but also to Aunt Betty in Idaho.
Are they all pretty executives all pretty open to this? I guess if they're finding you, they know about you, and they're open when they approach you, right?
You said a very important thing. Unless they find you, the weird thing is that I get the people in front of me who found me.
Yeah.
And even when I go to a person and say, well, have you ever been thinking about this? If you talk about spirituality or this type of stuff, people shy away because they are out of control. They think that you can control by your mind and by rules and regulations. And the funny part is, if we come up with a new rule, we immediately take that new rule on, and then we say, oh wow, that's really cool, we're going to do this, so therefore laws and rules and regulations are flexible, because once you change it, it's not anymore there, but spirituality stays there. So I don't call it spirituality, I call it quantum physics. And quantum physics is a difficult name, nobody knows what it is, and it's too difficult to comprehend, so it's like, oh, he must be smart. It's like a
better.
Trojan horse coming into the boardroom. But and sometimes I don't say it, but they feel it. And I ask the right questions, which makes it difficult for
We
me.
have 1 minute left. I just want to let you
Oh,
know.
okay.
This hour went very fast.
Wow, this went really fast.
This is, it should be a sequel now.
It should be a
Holy
sequel.
cow.
Do you want to tell us how people can find you?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to the website, Robert Pino, which is spelled ROBERT, and then Pino is PINO.com. Or type my name in on YouTube, and you'll find a lot of stuff that you can explore. But that's the easiest way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
For being our
so much
guest.
for coming
Thank you.
on. I
Thank you
can't
for the
believe this time went
opportunity.
by. Just
really
blown
fast.
away.
You'll have to come back. We at a moment. I just wanted to give a shout out to my peeps. Anne Marie Zangara is out in Brooklyn somewhere in
Eyelash,
New York.
Johnny Eyelash.
Johnny Eyelash. Pascucci is listening, and all the way out to
Brazil,
Maurizio Marino
Germany,
in Australia.
Australia.
We love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, nice talking to
We'll
you.
see you next week. Thank you
You're
so
great.
much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, and catch us on.
We're on Facebook. We're on. You can actually see this post on YouTube.
You have to tell them. You have to tell them where it is.
Oh, YouTube.
Okay.
Put in On the Fringe on YouTube in a couple of days, and you'll see this broadcast.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye.
See you next week.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
This is Love in the Modern World. This is Dates and Mates with Dear Mrs. D.
That is a definite no.